Ruth.
Oh my God, you're finally awake. It's been so long. You've been out for 8 months.
8 months? I must have gotten hit really hard.
It was a spectacular scooter accident. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow. Was it cool? Did you get footage?
Oh, the footage was lost. I'm so sorry.
No.
I know.
Wait, speaking of footage, we have to do Pulp Friction.
Pulp Friction? I don't know what you're talking about. This is Pulp Fantasy.
What?
For more than 100 years, the world has been fascinated by the movies. The movies.
Hello. Welcome to Pulp...
Hello.
Welcome to Pulp Fantasy, where we watch movies and ask the most important question: who's winning? My name is Ruth, and I am very excited to be talking about these movies today.
And my name is Rochel, if you're nasty, and I am also very excited to be talking about these movies today.
It's quite a menagerie.
It's quite an interesting collection. For those of you who haven't been following along, this is a new series where we're going to be looking at various sort of micro-genres and subcategories of movies. And basically, we're going to play it like fantasy football, make our draft picks, and then end the season with a big award show where we choose the best of these groups of movies, but also decide which one of us is the winner.
So lots of winning, lots of movies, a great time all around.
We love winning and we love movies. Those are the two things we can all agree on in this crazy world.
Yep.
We're going to talk about a slate of movies each episode, and we're going to kind of announce each episode in advance so people can follow along, play their own little game if they want to. And we're basically going to talk about this group of movies, and then at the end of the episode, kind of make our draft picks leading up to the awards. And do you want to tell us what this first season is about?
Oh, I was almost going to hand this off to you because it was your idea, and
it was.
It's a fantastic idea. It's this first season is, of course, Rudd Dud Redemption, where we watch Paul Rudd's commercial failures and talk about them, decide which ones are deservedly failures and which ones need a second look.
Yes, Red Dead Redemption is an idea that has been bouncing around in my head for years, and I'm very glad to finally be letting it loose with you. We have a slate of over 30 movies that we're looking at. You'd be surprised how many Red Duds there really are. And, I think we're going to kind of understand Paul Rudd's career a little better. We're going to understand sort of the modern day movie star, which Paul Rudd is kind of is kind of in that conversation, especially recently. And I think it's going to be a really fun time.
Yeah, I found with this first round, it was less Paul Rudd that I was thinking about and more everyone else related to the production, but we can get into that. Yes.
So before we get into that,
we're
going to do a little something up top where we talk about just what's been on our minds, what we've been watching, what we've been listening to.
What else has been going on around the league?
Exactly.
Well, I can say that I just saw Naked Gun in theaters with my friend, and
absolutely,
I was excited to see it so that we could talk about it because I know it's one that you were really excited about. It is a comedy. It is a straight through nothing but a comedy, and I deeply appreciate it for that.
It's because I feel like there have been so many times in the last few years where a movie's come out and I've been like, this is so refreshing and so funny. There have obviously been, some of the funniest movies of the last couple of years, like Bottoms or Theater Camp.
Love Theater Camp.
But Naked Gun really is bringing something back to the equation that has not really been there in a while. And I think it's just we can say mainstream comedy, but I think as we're going to get into in this episode, not all mainstream comedies are created equal.
Yeah.
I mean, all these movies are actually indie movies, which is part of what's wild. But like, they speak to their eras of mainstream comedy, and I think it's really just like a studio comedy made by very funny people who also like movies.
Yeah. It felt very broad in the sense that like everyone who was in the theater was having a good time, and it never really like as much as I love theater camp, it's a very specific comedy that's speaking to like a specific audience, and this was refreshingly just like, here's a weird pun, and here's just a plain old sight gag that would be funny in any language, in any theater, as well as being like, you know, it feels appropriate to sort of be returning to this sort of broad comedy with a remake of a classic, to sort of be like a continuation of this like reboot remake trend, but reviving the broad comedy in a way. The only other one I was thinking of, because in the car ride home, me and my friend were trying to think of other comedies we've seen recently, and the only other one I could think of that was sort of this, reminded me of this, was the Al Yankovic movie, Weird, where it's sort of like genuinely jokes a minute, sight gags, funny slapstick.
Yeah, I mean, Weird was obviously a streaming original, a Roku original, I believe, and it is niche in the sense that, like, I mean, Weird Al's a pretty mainstream figure, but there's definitely, like, some deep-cut elements to it. And I feel like this movie, Naked Gun, really struck that balance well of having those really broad moments and also having, like, really nerdy and specific and, like, minute things going on in the background. Like, the scene that I keep coming back to from this movie is the scene where they parody the Mission Impossible scene where they make the guy think that the crime already happened and the fake Wolf Blitzer and stuff. And they just do a version of that where they do the reveal like 4 times where where everyone's being recorded and there's another crew behind them. I just feel like it's been so long since we've seen a movie do such an incisive and specific parody of another movie.
Yes, and it was all through that, and it had the stuff that you'd expect of like noir cliches or whatever. But then I'm trying to think of a good example off the top of my head. The joke that got me the most was literally just this one-liner that was it was like, damn it, I'm like an idiot's finished puzzle, framed. And no one else in the theater laughed nearly as hard as I did, but I laughed for like a good minute.
There were a couple good jokes like that. The one that I highlighted was like a teenager with 3 babysitting jobs. I didn't need another babysitting job.
Yep.
There's a lot of great moments where it's like there's a joke in the foreground and there's 3 more jokes in the background. Like when he's trying out the car and he like breaks open the vault and the prisoners run out and he's like, this town's gone to shit.
I did have a minute where I was like, is every movie going to be about Elon Musk for a while? And
a lot of them are.
Like it made me think, like Mickey 17 is kind of about Trump, kind of about Musk, and I just like
Megan 2 is about Musk.
Yep.
Bad Guys 2 is about Musk. I made like a little list of these. Like this year and for the last couple years there have been like villains that are clearly Elon Musk, but this year especially it's like almost every week I go to a movie and I'm like, oh, that's meant to be Elon Musk.
Yeah. I had that moment of like, damn, we're really in they're just going to keep making them.
Yep. And we do live in a society.
Yep.
Naked Gun was a big one for sure. I definitely had a great experience with Weapons.
I still haven't seen it yet. It's the one that's like very, like I'm upset that I'm missing it and everyone else is seeing it, but I'll get to it.
Yeah, I think my roommate is going to see it tonight. But yeah, Weapons is a movie that made me feel crazy. I saw I think The Onion did like a little like everything you need to know about Weapons thing, and it was like, is it scary? And the answer was, it's not like ghost scary, and more like going to the bad CVS at 2 a.m. scary.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see, because Barbarian was very meh for me, but
same.
I appreciated that it felt very different. and that there were decisions being made that were like nothing else I was seeing. So I'm just excited to see this filmmaker keep doing that, basically.
Yeah, I'm excited for Zach Cregger to be like one of those guys who can get anything made. He's doing a Resident Evil movie next that I'm sure is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness.
He said it's going to be his Evil Dead 2.
Oh my god. I hope because that's the franchise with Leon, right? The guy that every time I see him he's wearing less clothing depending on the mod.
Yeah.
That's a movie that I want that guy to make.
Yeah, there's so much fun to be had there. And Weapons is really great. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a future episode once you've seen it. But it's also something that I'll talk about in the context of one of these movies later.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I want to get my thoughts out there on the new Chance the Rapper album, which people are kind of heralding as a comeback. He's gotten a lot of like media appearances, and I don't want to think I'm a hater because I want Chance the Rapper to be good, but I thought this album was terrible. And I feel like when The Big Day came out, I was a little into it at first. It took me a while to kind of like see all the holes in it and kind of get on the bandwagon of everyone saying it's one of the worst albums in recent memory. I think this album, it has there's like one or two tracks where he's in that more serious pocket, which didn't really happen on The Big Day, and I feel like people just like him in there. But like, as a listening experience, I think this is at least as bad as The Big Day. Like, I think all the beats have like 12 producers and they all sound terrible. Chance's rapping is really not on par with that like 2013 to 2015 era. I think people feel like he's a little bit back because they maybe haven't been listening to anything he's put out in between this and The Big Day. But like, I might put down my thoughts on this more in depth. I might talk about it on my album of the year list or something. But yeah, I thought that album was terrible.
Noted. I didn't even realize there was a new one out, which shows how much I pay attention to music. But I will say that Joey Valance and the Bray released their new album last week. It is absolute wall-to-wall bangers, as I suspected.
It's a good album.
It's been on repeat
in my car
for like every day since it came out. Excellent stuff.
I really like the way they're expanding their sound. It feels like, with every album they become like more exciting as a band.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots of great tunes on there. Shall we get into it?
Let's get into it.
So this first episode, as some of you know, either from the title or from the promo, is about the films of Paul Rudd and David Wain.
Who I feel like I didn't know a ton about before this, and now I feel like I know a lot about him. It was... through these movies, I kept having moments where I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be... like, this is about Paul Rudd, technically. But every movie, I was just so much more fascinated by, like, oh, like, what's Ken Marino doing in this one? And, like, oh, what's...
Yeah.
Like, I have this new theory now that I just really, really like Michael Showalter and are, like, kind of a fan of David Wain. Because...
Interesting.
The ones where he works with Michael Showalter were my favorite of this batch. And then the other movies that Michael Showalter's done since then, specifically spoiler alert, and the one where Anne Hathaway dates the boy band member, I love both of those movies. And so I think I'm just a really big Showalter fan, is I think the thing I learned through this process.
Well, here's the funny thing. There is another Showalter movie that we'll look at later in this series. But I think I might be the opposite. I feel like I think Michael Showalter is kind of a hack, and David Wain is the interesting one.
Interesting.
Not that I like all of these movies. Yeah. We'll get into. There's only one I really don't like, but David Wain also did A Futile and Stupid Gesture, the Mad Magazine biopic, which I really liked. I don't like the sort of Showalter movies that I've seen. I didn't really like The Big Sick. I didn't really like The Lovebirds. I really didn't like The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And, you know, having not seen, spoiler alert, or The Idea of You, but having heard good things about both of those, I just feel like when I look at a Michael Showalter movie, I see, like, something pretty basic and watered down.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at a David Wain movie, I see something that is usually a lot funnier than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
And also is just kind of taking a chance. You know, something we'll get into, and that we've kind of talked about already, is that all four of these, I think Wanderlust not, but, like, David Wain is still making, like, very indie movies that, like, barely get released, you know. And I think that, you know, I think I just like that spirit, and I feel like it kind of carries through in these movies, even though they're with all these big names and are very, like, well-made at times.
At times, yeah. That was, in watching The 10, I was watching it with my boyfriend, and he was just like, how are all these people that I know in this movie? And I was like, listen, they all went to college together and then, you know, worked on things, and people really like working with this guy.
It's true. I mean, there are a lot of stories. The four movies we'll be talking about.
Let's dive into it.
Cut myself off there. We're going to be talking about Wet Hot American Summer, which is sort of like, when people hear Red Dead Redemption, I think the first movie that probably comes to mind is Wet Hot.
Yeah.
Because it is such a famous example of a movie that was a giant bomb that critics hated, that is now, like, considered a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But I think the other movies in this series are all very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's The 10 from 2007. There's a movie we're not talking about, Role Models, because in the middle, in between The 10 and Wanderlust, we had a Paul Rudd, David Wain movie that was a massive success and everyone liked it.
I had to look into it. I was like, what's this other movie? Oh, it did well. That's why it's not. I was really confused as to why it wasn't on the list for a while.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's something interesting we'll get into. We have Wanderlust from 2012, and we have They Came Together from 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Wet Hot is
one of my favorite movies. I adore this movie. And this time around, I rewatched it with my parents who'd never seen it. But I've been talking it up to my dad for years. This is amazing comedy. And it was really an experience to watch with two people that I don't think understood at all, like, what was happening or, like, why it was supposed to be funny. My dad, it got some laughs out of my dad, but my mom was mostly just really confused. And even, like, at the beginning, I was kind of like, oh, Mom, like, you guys will really appreciate this. It's about, like, being a teen in the 70s, and, like, it's gonna like tap into, like, these things that, like, were your experience, but, like, really funny. And I still don't think she got much of anything out of it.
Yeah, Wet Hot is definitely the one out of these that there are probably already dozens of podcasts about.
Oh, yeah.
I would say, in terms of my personal experience this time, I just watched it a couple months ago. I watched it. We talked about it when we did the 2001 Movie Awards. It was a heavy hitter there, and I'd be curious to hear a little bit about, like, how you feel like you first heard about Wet Hot, because for me it was something where it definitely was, like, something I read about online. I remember by the time They Came Together came out, I was already, like, deep in the pocket. But it couldn't have been that long before that. It was probably, like, 1 to 2 years before that. And I think what I heard was it's this beloved comedy. Probably 2011. It had its 10-year anniversary. Maybe I first heard, like, whispers about it then. And, you know, it's a movie that has all these big people in it. And I just heard about it being, like, a funny movie that didn't do well with critics. I feel like the extent to which it bombed and the extent to which it became such a movement were not clear to me at first. But yeah, I think I probably saw it a couple years later. I think first time for me too. I was also like, took me a while to get on the wavelength with it. But obviously I've seen it many times since then. It's a movie that you can kind of put on whenever and have a great time.
This is an interesting question because I was trying to figure out where I had heard of it and seen it, and I'm pretty sure I just came across it on Netflix because I have really distinct memories of looking at it on Rotten Tomatoes and trying to decide if I was going to watch it or not, and being like really confused by the difference between audience and critic scores. And I don't really use Rotten Tomatoes very much, and that's part of why it's very clear in my brain, because for some reason I was on there. And so I think I straight up just like kind of found it. I know I had a friend who was already a fan, but I can't remember if they'd talked to me about it. It's like sort of this fuzzy, like, it was like a random Saturday where I put it on and it was just like, this is amazing. This is something I can't like categorize.
Yeah, it feels like this. It's a kind of movie that's a little rarer now in the streaming age, but like it came out in 2001, and once it was on home video, people started just like finding it. And the more that the people in his cast, like Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler and Bradley Cooper, became big stars, the more people were like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
And it kind of was able to have that slow build where at the 10-year mark, I read that Universal refused to do an anniversary re-release for it. And then, like, I feel like now every couple weeks I meet someone who says that Wet Hot is their favorite movie.
Yeah. I got really into it right before the first of the sequel series came out, the first day of camp. It was back when I was getting Entertainment Weekly, and I remember reading like all the articles coming up to it and being so excited that there was going to be more Wet Hot American Summer. And then, you know, I watched all of First Day of Camp. I had a pretty good time. I have not a ton of interest in returning to it. I never saw the second series, but it was definitely around then that I started hearing about it all over the place. And for today, I also rewatched Hurricane of Fun, which is a delightful documentary.
Me too.
I love it.
Me too.
It's the kind of documentary that I love that makes me want to just get up and make stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that's very clear about this movie is that everyone had a fucking party making it.
Yeah. It's kind of like you hear the stories about the Mamma Mia set, and it's like that's why this movie is pure magic, because everyone was like a little off their minds the whole time, but working really hard to like make a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like in a way they kind of had a real summer camp where it was like there were the adults and there were the kids, and they all kind of lived there in the woods and, you know, goofed off, but also did work and made a movie about it.
Yeah. And you can it has that feeling of like a first feature film, which it was for so much of the cast and crew, where you feel that they like are really, really putting in an effort. You know, the thing when I always think about like indie build it from the ground up first films is Evil Dead, which will be referenced who knows how many times on this podcast, as it's like a huge touchstone.
God only knows.
But it's like a similar kind of like they're literally living in the woods, kind of killing each other, but having a great time in the name of like getting exactly what they want made. And in this case, it's like sort of a much looser, like goofier thing, but like that's what they wanted, you know? It captures camp so well.
It does. And I think the camp movie is kind of an interesting little thing, because there's the horror camp movie, which is like a whole subgenre in its own right. But then you have the comedy camp movie like
Theater Camp.
Like Theater Camp, or which one was the Bill Murray one? Meatballs or Stripes? I don't remember which one. Probably Meatballs.
I haven't thought about that movie, and I saw that on TV when I was like 8, and I've never been able to stop thinking about it.
Yeah, I feel like it's always fun. It always gives you an opportunity to have like dozens of characters and kind of it's a great opportunity to do that like real old school comedy thing where you have a character who just comes into a scene to do one bit and add their one bit to everything else.
Yeah. I love Mork Kid. Like or the guy with the chicken. Like this movie has those characters where if I saw them at a Halloween party, I'd be like, oh my god, it's Mork Kid from Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
Even though they've got like maybe 10 minutes of screen time total.
All the kids are kind of great because they're just having fun.
Yeah, the kids are just happy to like be in a place where they can goof off and like. Yeah, I'm sure that the you know, like level of like watching the children on set was not what it is on anything big budget. Those kids are just having a blast.
Right. I'm sure, and yeah, it feels like these actors, this like troupe of young actors, was probably like at a good like age and place in their careers to just like really entertain a group of kids for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Because I didn't really know about like the State or Stella or any of these other like the sort of origins of this particular comedic group. Until I was reading up about them for this, and it feels like it was the perfect first film for them to make, was to take their sort of like college sketch comedy improv background and then just run around in the woods and make a movie that's very like vignette based but tied together loosely. It was like the perfect first outing for so many of these people.
Yeah. I think something that was really nice about revisiting it this time is this was my first time revisiting it since watching Frasier. And so like being really excited about David Hyde Pierce.
That was when I saw it for the first time, because I grew up on Frasier. It was one of my favorite shows when I was like 10. And I remember when I put this movie in and I didn't know David Hyde Pierce was going to be in it, and I freaked out. I was like, that's David Hyde Pierce, and then also the guy from SVU is here. Like, the people who or the guy who plays Molly Shannon's husband, who played Frank on 30 Rock. Every time he gets me, I'm just like, Frank's here.
It's so real. I think like and yeah, it's like now that I've seen Frasier, it's like I'll look at the cast of any movie, even this some dog shit, and it's like, oh, David Hyde Pierce is in this. So it's like the experience of, and of course Janine Garofalo is one of those people too, where I will see anything that she's in. So in both those cases, I feel like I came to the movie at first not sort of like the this is so cool part for me was like Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler the first time I watched, like Michael Ian Black, and then like coming back to it with like new people to be excited about was interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking about, because in Hurricane of Fun there's that scene where it's like Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd signing the sign to like live at the camp and do like a little like promo for the camp, and I was like, I wonder, because back in the day it was just like, oh, you know, Paul Rudd had been in some things, Amy Poehler hadn't done anything, and this camp stumbled upon creating a promo with like who would become two like humongous names. Like it's very, I don't know, sort of sweet and interesting to watch that footage of them when they're just like hanging out as like normal people who are just like starting actors.
Yeah, and Paul Rudd tells this story sometimes about like, you know, being intimidated by having David Hyde Pierce there, and how like they like all these young comedy guys would drink together and go crazy, and there was one time where David Hyde Pierce showed up at the cabin and Paul Rudd says, "Oh great, Frasier's here." And then, you know, it just really speaks to like these were, you know, 20 somethings. They were people our age, but they were kind of kids too. And it was like if we went and made a movie at a camp somewhere.
But then somehow we got like, I don't know, like one of the kids from Blackish, a Modern Family kid to be in it, you know? I'd be like, oh, here comes Modern Family. Here comes that kid.
Who would be like having David Hyde Pierce? I feel like having like Spencer from iCarly would be the version of that for our generation.
That's actually so true. That's so true. It'd be like we got Macaulay Culkin, you know?
Yeah. Oh man. I guess Finn Wolf. I was just thinking about how Finn Wolfhard and his friends did that camp movie this year. Well, it seems like they had fun. I haven't seen it yet. I don't want to talk out of turn, but I was just thinking about that prospect, and then I was like, oh, they kind of did that.
Yeah, we'll get a different member of Naked Brothers Band.
We will. The good one. No.
That, not to non sequitur, but when I saw Quiet Place Day One, and I realized there was a Naked Brothers Band member in that movie, I screamed in that theater. I did not recognize him in the least.
Yeah, I love having one of them dudes. I feel like there was, you know, like Nat Wolff was kind of a thing in the mid-10s. It was like he was doing Fault in Our Stars and stuff like that. And it was like, maybe this is going to be the guy. And now, and after Hereditary, Alex Wolff is just like, oh, this guy's so much better. People don't even want Nat Wolff anymore.
Yeah.
Wet Hot, there are a lot of bits that I could talk about. We briefly mentioned Christopher Maloney, who is so funny in this.
I put on Higher and Higher, the song. It's just like in regular playlists for me. It's just a straight up banger.
It is a banger, and there's there's this scene where he talks to like the can of beans. Yes. There's one of my favorite bits on the most recent watch was that scene where Paul Rudd throws the plate.
Yes.
And then he's like, and there's like, you're gonna make me clean this up, and then he like cleans it up, but he's like slumped over and like hunching around the whole time.
I genuinely, anytime I have to pick stuff off the floor, I think about that scene every single time. The bits that stood out to me this time, and I think maybe it was because like, I don't know, something about the Ken Marino and Joe Latrugio. What's his name?
Joe Latrulio.
Joe Latrulio. Their bits really shone for me this time. I don't know why. Like when he comes in and it's the stunt actor on the motorcycle with a big wig, really got me this time.
Yeah. The bit that always works for me is the bit where they go to town. Yeah. And then it like cut. Like we get the whole scene of them in like the heroin den, and then they come back and the guy's like, it's so fun to go to town even for an hour.
The scene I always talk about when I'm trying to like sell this movie to people is when Paul Rudd accidentally kills a kid swimming, and then it cuts to them throwing him out of a van, and the callback to that is for me like pure genius to be like, oh well, I guess we killed another kid. Whoops.
Yeah.
Just dump that one too.
Yeah. What was I thinking of? I was thinking of the bit where David Hyde Pierce says to Janine Garofalo, meet me at the picnic table in 10 seconds. I'll tell you all about it. And then Janine Garofalo kind of like looks out in the distance for a sec and then walks 2 feet over. And he's got like a lab coat on that he did.
Yeah. Damn, it's just a good movie.
It's a very funny movie. It has just the right amount of plot, I think, because like the Skylab thing is such a crazy thing to put in the movie, but it's like it shows up just late enough where it's like you're wanting for a little plot, and then it adds just enough without ever like distracting from the bits.
Yeah. I remember when I watched it the first time, and I think this was partly because I was like younger. I got like kind of invested in the romance arc, which is really funny to me now because it's like so goofy. But I think that speaks to the ease with which I am taken in by a romantic plot. Yeah,
and the I mean, I mean, there are a few romances in a way.
Yeah, this is true. I'm speaking specifically about Coop and oh my god, my brain. Coop and the main
and
the main.
Michael Ian Black.
Yeah, of course. No, this is for you. Also quoted daily.
Yeah, it's I think all the romances work in a different way, because there's the main romance with Michael Showalter that's like that, you know, I feel like I latch onto that less because it's the most like central and kind of generic one. But then you have the two of the most like known people in the cast, Jean Garofalo and David Hyde Pierce, having their little thing going on, and then you have Bradley Cooper and Michael Ian Black doing their gay romance, which is so, it's like the joke of that is that they do it completely straight, and it makes it so kind of timeless. Like
it's like genuinely you're sitting and you're like, damn, wow, I don't know, it always hits.
And like they talked about how for the sex scene they were like, we just have to fully commit to this. They do the whole wedding.
Bradley Cooper famously missing his graduation to film
he missed his graduation to film the sex scene. And he said that it's like, he once said that Michael Ian Black was the best kisser that he'd ever kissed on screen. There was a quote I saw on Reddit while I was like doing research that was just from a review of it that said, quote, "There is GLBT stuff with Bradley Cooper who has gay intercourse, which was very progressive."
That's good. I remember
it's so true.
When First Day of Camp was coming out, and so Entertainment Weekly was doing all their like retrospectives, and they had like a whole bit where they had to be like, they were interviewing, I forget which cast member, but they were like, what does it feel like to have be in a movie that had a gay wedding, like so ahead of its time or whatever? It's so goofy. It's like it's like sure, yeah, you're correct, but also I don't know. There's just something so goofy to me about being like, ah, yes, Wet Hot American Summer, brilliant representation.
Yeah, and it's not untrue. Like again, like it's a very good kind of portrayal, and you start to buy into their romance to a real degree. But like, it is also like fully a joke.
Yeah.
I think Bradley Cooper and Amy Poehler are definitely the two, like, this was their first movie ever people where they just completely pop anytime they're in it.
Yeah. Amy Poehler's whole, like, command as that character, it makes me wish that she played villain. Well, this isn't a villain role, but just, like, played characters who are harder more often. I feel like she plays a lot of, like, and this is the Leslie Knope effect of like people wanting her to be these like soft, bubbly, like intense, but like fumbling thing, which I guess we'll get into in what they came together. But I really like when she gets to be kind of sharp and snipe and like be that character.
And I feel like what works best about Amy Poehler's like shtick is when she like has that sort of bubbly exterior and then like pokes through it, you know?
Yeah.
And I definitely agree that like post Parks and Rec, like whenever she's cast in something, she's playing like the, you know, the embodiment of joy, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good in this. Everyone's really good in this. It's speaking to the Netflix series briefly. I also have only seen a few episodes. But obviously part of the gag of this is that these grown adults are all, you know, pretending to be teenagers in the 80s and just playing it completely straight. And then when they did the Netflix show, I think it was a really funny choice to be like, we're going to set this earlier in the same
Yep.
in the same year.
Yep.
Like it's 15 years later,
Yep.
and they're going to play slightly younger versions of themselves.
Oh yeah, and they only did like one line about it. I remember where they're like, "This is going to be the best summer camp ever. It's going to be like we de-aged 15 years by the end of it."
Yeah,
and
it's really funny.
I remember the Chris Pine bits in the Netflix show being funny, partly because Chris Pine is just really good whenever he gets to do comedy. I'm always like, damn, let him do more comedy. And I remember, like, they gave the can of veggies backstory, and I was like, you didn't need to do that, but I understand that the gag of the show was that we're going to give everything a backstory.
Yeah.
And the zoot suit dance. I have an uncle who's creative. Oh, really? I know someone who's creative too. There's some good bits in the show, but
yeah,
I never saw the like 10 years later one. It might be fun to dip in someday.
Yeah, I think I saw an episode of the 10 years later one. I was just like not hooked by either of the shows, and so I didn't really finish them.
Yeah, they were the first one was very, very Netflix of that era, like 2015 Netflix. Back when Netflix was like a big deal, and like the new shows coming out were a big deal, and they all kind of had that like shine to them that we didn't know to like. We didn't know what the shine meant yet. We hadn't grown tired of it.
Sure. There's a real like Netflix house style now that is very like smoothed out.
Yeah.
But I think in those early days, they hadn't figured out what their style was yet.
Yeah.
But they were like,
yeah,
we want it to be very crisp.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like that was, if not the same exact year, it was around the same time that Daredevil was first coming out. So like they were doing a couple different things, but you know, it all sort of became mush eventually.
It was the era where, you know, they had big success with House of Cards. They were doing the Arrested Development reboot. They were like very invested in all their things being a big deal.
Yeah.
And now they like choose one or two things, and then everything else just kind of out the door.
And I don't even hear about the big things anymore. I only see it when it's on Letterboxd, and everyone's like, Netflix spent how much money on this? And I go, I didn't even know it came out, or that it was made, or that these people were in it.
The Electric State.
Exactly.
Only on Netflix.
Exactly. I'll watch it someday, just for shits and gigs.
I probably won't just for shits and gigs.
There's part of me that just like something like that really fascinates me. That one especially.
It does kind of feel like something where like 30 years from now you'll be able to really enjoy it.
Yeah, it'll be like the Suicide Squad movie that came out first. Low key. Yeah. Kind of like a cult, little beautiful.
Kind of getting there, right?
It's kind of like the first Twilight movie.
It is. It's kind of, a couple years from now. Yeah. Be on the lookout for a Suicide Squad revival.
We have talked about Wet Hot quite a bit. And a movie that I do love. And I think
Shall we?
Yeah, I will admit that the first 20 minutes of the 10, the disc skipped clean over, and I couldn't get it to fix. And so, for me, the 10 started with the Vagina Man joke, was like the beginning of the movie for me. Which was maybe not the ideal way to watch it. But
sure,
I found that while it had bits that I enjoyed, which I will talk about, overall by the end I was sort of like, I could have spent this doing other things. I didn't need to have watched this movie.
I will say what the struggles of my watch were. It was like standard. It was not super high quality. It was a German rip, so like the dialogue was fine, but all the like intertitles and stuff were in German.
Interesting.
It also did not have any subtitles for the Spanish part.
Yep.
In the Jesus sketch. So I made out some stuff from that sketch. Like I know enough Spanish that I could follow, but I think a lot of the gags of that part probably did not come through for me.
That part did have my biggest laugh in the entire watch, which was where Jesus whittles the man a leg, and then 2 seconds later, all the children come up with axes to start trying
Yeah.
to chop at it.
That was really good.
Belly laugh. Biggest laugh the entire movie got out of me. That is like that's a bit. That is a bit that I will think about for a long time.
It's a really good bit. I overall liked this movie. I'm overall positive on it. I think there are definitely some parts that do not work. It kind of feels like when they were putting together the 10 Commandments thing, they had like 6 really good ideas and had to kind of fill out the rest.
Yeah. I enjoyed the CAT scan one.
The CAT scan one is so
liked
good.
The CAT scan one was really good.
Because it starts, and you think the joke is going to be that these neighbors are just trying to one-up each other, but then they're actually just getting another CAT scan machine every time they come back.
and then
it's
just whenever a joke like that is taken to such an extent that now there's like children dying, like it's gonna tickle me. I enjoy that when it becomes like, oh god, the kids, not the bus full of children. If only we had 75 CAT scan machines. That bit was really good.
It's really good because it's just like... Because it's just like, great. You got a CAT scan machine. It's like Joe Lo Truglio and Liev Schreiber. Yeah. And then it's just... It's just another CAT scan machine. Like it doesn't accomplish anything than the one you had before. And like it escalates a little bit, but you're also always just seeing like a guy bring one CAT scan machine.
They clearly had like 3 that they made, and that was all the budget they had. So every shot they would just move the 3 that they had to make it look like the house was full.
Yeah. I think that is definitely the bit that I think about the most. I think the like, I like the first bit, which is a guy skydives without a parachute and gets buried in the ground permanently, and if he moves, he'll die.
Yep. I got about 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes of that before the disc was like, nope.
Yeah.
I liked the girl dressing up as him for Halloween. I was like, that's good.
That was really good. I think it's really well done, honestly, how this movie like starts as this like sketch thing with all these disconnected things, and then they slowly become more and more tied together.
Yeah.
Leading up to the final song and dance number where everyone gets out on stage together, but like and then the one of the later ones is about the Paul Rudd character, who's the narrator. He becomes involved in the stories. I feel like it's just kind of a fun thing, and it's done to the proper extent where it's not like annoying world building stuff, or it's not like you're not thinking about it too much, but it's like, you know, it solves the issue that an anthology movie like this could have, where you can't really get into all the different characters by bringing back the same characters and the same stories.
Yeah. I found that the Paul Rudd framing device did not work for me. Whenever they went back to him, and it was just sort of like him getting in these sort of like exaggerated fights with his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, I found that's when I was like, it killed the energy in between when there was like, oh my god, there's 75 CAT scan machines, or like even the bit where Paul Rudd's like, oh, I married, I can't remember the actress now, but like
Diane Wiest.
I married Diane Wiest. Like that was good, and then having to like go back to the framing device in between all the sections, I was sort of like, oh yeah, and here's the big, yep, okay, we're here now.
Yeah, my favorite bit from that Paul Rudd, from the Ninth Story with Paul Rudd, and it's also kind of the thing that kept me going through all the interstitials with him, is when he's catching up with his old wife, who's Famke Janssen, and he says, I got this new place, empty black void with the stone tablets. Like the thing that powers me through those scenes, and I agree that like on the individual level they're cheesy, is just the fact that he's in this void with the stone tablets the whole time, and that's his apartment.
It felt very like black box college theater. It felt very like grad school theater, to be like, I'm getting in a fight, but I'm just in a void. I think that was part of it. It was like it felt like it was trying to be, I don't know. It didn't thread the tonal needle for me. I will also say that I liked the first sort of chunk of Ken Marino's bit, and then it's just a goof, funny.
It's just a goof.
It's just a goof. But then I think they just went way, way, way too far with the prison stuff. And like I'll say that I struggle with any prison movie. Like I watch a lot of action, and whenever I like get to the point in an actor's watch through where I'm like, and now I got to do the one where they're in prison, I'm like, okay. Like I don't know. It always just is like a thing that I just can't take in movies. And it felt like that went so far past a line where I was like uncomfortable in my viewing, where it was hard for the movie to win me back.
Yeah, I definitely think that like it's really kind of it's like it just happens at the end of that third story that it gets into kind of the prison rape joke.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay. And then they do a whole sequence about it.
Yep.
later
bring it
on.
up multiple times in like the ending song. And they reached a point where it was like, okay guys, we get it. It wasn't really funny to begin with, and now you've really beat this horse to death. And it's not a joke where beating it to death can be funny. Like sometimes playing the joke too long, great. This is not one of them.
Yeah, I think I overall did not like that sequence. The little parts I did like I did like the chemistry of Rob Corddry and Ken Marino, and I also liked at the end when Michael Ian Black turns to camera and does the end of Also That Ends Well.
Yeah.
I do really like that first Ken Marino story where he leaves the scissors in as a goof.
Just a goof. Your Honor,
it was just a goof. Like there's zero connectivity between having killed this person and he's like, it was a goof.
And that was a good courtroom scene. I love a good courtroom scene.
Yeah.
And that was a really solid courtroom scene. I'd never seen anyone do the gag of like the jury being like, but don't we get to say? And the judge being like, you guys are annoying. Like that hit well.
Yeah.
Like, the lawyers, Zach Orth was.
The lawyers were good.
Wild. Like that was a good courtroom scene.
Yeah, I love when they were like, I gotta get out of this business. I hear they're hiring tour guides at the nuclear power plant.
Is this a goof? I don't think so, sir.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that.
I also liked. A gag I liked in the Jesus one is when at the beginning when Jason Sudeikis like shows up and is just like down at the height of the desk, and then he just stands up and he was just doing that for no reason.
Watching the 10 Last was also interesting in getting that. I'm always confusing their names, but the Trudeau that isn't the prime minister, Justin, getting him again after watching Wanderlust was interesting. To be like, they just
Justin Theroux.
Thank you, not Trudeau. Theroux.
Yeah,
I confuse
because Justin Trudeau was the prime minister.
Thank you,
and is now dating Katy Perry.
I heard about that as well. And I went, this can't be real. And then I closed Tumblr and I opened the internet, and it was real. Thank you. No, it's like they're one of those people where the two of them are just in my brain the same person, and it's never been explicable. Like I truly, when he got elected, was like, I guess Canada's doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger now, fully a different guy.
Yeah.
But it's like whenever David Wain needs a Jesus figure, he goes, I got one dude.
It's The I'm just going through the other stories. There's the fourth story is where these two kids' father dies, and the mom says their real father was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're like, we're black, and she's like, you know, she invites an Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator to come, you know, pretend to be their dad, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in the end, the mom is like, wait, it was Arsenio Hall. And they're like, well, that makes sense. That sequence is okay.
Yeah.
It's not anything to write home about.
No. Oliver Platt's trying his best, and I don't feel like he works necessarily.
Yeah. It's it does feel like someone who is more of a legit Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator. Like they do the joke of this guy doesn't even like really look or do a good Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. Yeah. But I think if they had someone who did do a good Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, it would have kind of elevated the rest of the scene. It's one of those situations where it's like two jokes that are funny on their own but conflict with each other, you know?
Get somebody that at least really sounds like him but doesn't look like him, or like do something where it's like, I don't know. Yeah, there's not like three jokes trying to happen at once.
Yeah, exactly. Then we get to the CAT scan story, which is the best one. I like how it opens with like it moves into the word covet on the tablet, and then the kid holds up the newspaper and says covert drug ring. Covers the R, so it says covet. They just keep getting more CAT scan machines.
Yep. And I thought that bit was going to end with another gay marriage, and then it didn't. And I think that was a missed opportunity.
That should have been the one,
it's like,
yeah.
If the whole thing is like, don't covet... Well, I guess it's not covet your wife. That's what they did next. But like, they could have done a twofer. I feel like there's something that could have been done there where it's like, oh, I've been coveting his CAT scans, but actually also it's not about the wife.
I also really like the bit where the McDonald's Burger King Rooney's bit.
Yes. I have an idea. And then it's just a pilot idea. That also really got me. It's just... It's the best bit. It's the best bit of the whole movie.
It's a good bit. In between that and the next one, there's another line where Famke Janssen says, "I'm done with your lies and your apologies and your fucking stone tablets." Again, like that bit kind of brought me back into the fold for those interstitials.
Yeah.
I just always. Then there's the rape joke one. Then there's the story about Winona Ryder and the ventriloquist dummy, which I also thought was pretty fun.
My favorite bit in that whole section was, you should really call the cops. we should really call the cops about that.
Yeah, I liked when she said to the cops, when she said to the ventriloquist, "Oh, are you too?"
That was the other biggest gag. Me and my boyfriend were choking on are you with the hand gesture, like
with the limp wrist.
Like, was not expecting that at all to come out of Winona Ryder.
Yeah, that I think the basic bit of that is really funny. I love that Winona Ryder is just like, yeah, I know it's a puppet, and also like I want to have sex with this puppet. It just rides that line so well. And I think it's really funny that she like sneaks out of the motel, grabs the puppet, and then gets the room next to her husband's at the motel.
We should really call the cops about that.
Yeah, and that's the cops. The ventriloquist's first gag in the movie is towards the end of the or later on in the guy getting buried scene, where
Makes sense.
it's the agent's office, and there are two people in there, and you think the ventriloquist is the guy who's being told down, and the woman there is the receptionist, and then the woman leaves, and the ventriloquist is like, I don't know, where do you find these people?
Then we got into some animation, which
Lion Rhino.
Yeah.
Did not expect to see animation. No. I think it's pretty cool animation.
Yeah.
Again, I like the transition into this scene where it said the word witness into a VHS copy of Witness.
Yes. All the Harrison Ford movies. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I see Mosquito Coast.
Yeah. This sketch is not good, is the thing.
No. I wish more anthology movies would play with medium the way that this did.
Yeah.
And it does look cool, but it again felt like a gag that didn't work for me the first time, that they just then did 15 times.
It feels like in their head they were really into the idea, like they had the idea to do a cartoon segment, and then they were like, it would be really funny if it was just like the raunchiest, most horrible shit. Yeah. And they ran with that. I think, especially maybe to a modern sensibility, where I feel like adults generally like take animation very seriously now, a lot more so than they did then. Yeah. And you know, it's kind of it's when people say something didn't age well, they talk about something like the prison rape section. Mm-hmm. But this is another example of something not aging well, in just that it's a gag that kind of made more sense in like a pre-Sausage Party, you know, like people are very used to raunchy animation to the extent that it doesn't really work as a punchline.
Yeah, it doesn't work in a post-Rick and Morty society.
Yeah. The next segment is the Paul Rudd actually in the city segment, not in the void, where he does run into his ex-wife Famke Janssen, and they have both left the people they broke up with each other for. Paul Rudd has now married Diane Wiest. But they realize they still love each other, so he calls her up and tells her that it's over, and conversation goes well. And then they kind of get back together.
Yeah. Then we get into my other favorite bit. Not to, because
yeah. I just want to say that the whole Paul Rudd sequence feels a little bit like they came together like gestating. Like you can see that like in the background, David Wain's already thinking like it'd be fun to kind of play with this rom-com stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you know, like there's the scene where Paul Rudd talks about meeting Jessica Alba at the coffee shop, and you know, brought me back to they came together at the coffee shop. But yeah, it like what was kind of interesting about that for me was like I see the seeds of that here.
Yeah. You can tell that they love that. There's a very particular interest in rom-coms as a genre and how to play within that across a bunch of these bits. Actually, like there's a lot of like, what if we took the rom-com beats and put them in, you know, what if one of them was a ventriloquist, you know? Yeah,
what if they were incarcerated people and they were raping each other? Some will win, some will lose. The last story is about a man who lies to get out of going to church, so that he can spend time at home naked, which at first is kind of a classic idea, you know, Tom Cruise risky business, hanging out in your underwear. It's like something that, you know, the idea of like Homer, it's something Homer Simpson would do.
Yeah.
And then he talks to a friend about it. First of all, an early gag that I really like in this scene is when he sneezes and then says he thinks he has food poisoning.
Yeah, I like.
But so
I like how it builds. From that, from just like I don't want to go to church to, what if I took all my clothes off? To guys, you gotta try this. We gotta listen to Roberta
talking to his friend about it. Yeah, and his friend's like, is it gay? And he says it's just a couple of straight guys skipping church to hang out naked. So it starts with the two of them, and then his friend invites more people, and soon enough, you've got dozens of men coming to this house every weekend while the wife and kids are at church to hang out naked and listen to Roberta Flack.
I love the minister calling to be like, church ended early, the wife's on the way, and they're like going into mode. They like know what to do.
Yeah. I like when his friend is like, that's a little Flack 101. How about this? Greatest hits track 2.
Yeah, going greatest hits track 2 is a good bit.
Yeah.
I like that it becomes like almost like a therapy thing, and they're just like all like really like this is just their like time. It felt interesting to see like someone do like a church gag in this. It felt like kind of a unique church gag from what you normally see, where it's like, oh, you go to church and then you make fun of church, and this is like, no, the fun is not even going.
I love the when he finally has to come clean, and he's like, every Sunday morning dozens of men come over here and get naked. It snowballs so fast that when he just explains what's going on, you're like, that's so funny. It's a really great gag that goes directly into the big finale musical number. With the whole cast. That's a very fun song. It's followed immediately by another fun song, which is the end credits rap, where they say, yes, y'all, Gretchen Mol. They're just like, rather than talking about the movie, they're talking about the actors that are in the movie. Yeah. So yeah, the 10, I think is a fun idea. I think I went in with such low expectations, even it being a David Wain movie. I just like, no one ever talks about it. I think I went in with zero expectations, even it being a David Wain movie and me liking David Wain. I just like, no one's ever talked about it. It seemed like a very like, I've seen a lot of movies like this before that are like weird little anthologies people do that don't really get released. And I was prepared for it to be really bad, and I thought it was half very good.
Even as I was putting it in, I was like, I think this is going to be a really bad movie, and I was happily surprised to find bits that I liked a lot, but ultimately it lived up to my expectations, I would say.
Sure. Well, it certainly didn't do well.
Nope.
We both had a bit of a time trying to watch it. We talked about our horror stories, but it's because it's not streaming or rentable anywhere.
No.
It barely got a home video release.
There are within my library system, there's maybe 7 or 8 DVD copies, which is more than I can say of other things, but I think that more speaks to the fact that it was a DVD that came out when every new DVD that came out the library would buy, because that was the new DVD that was out. But it's definitely sort of a weird relic of a particular era. Like,
it really
throws
is.
me back to like, it was Jeff. Who's the ventriloquist comedian? Is that Jeff Dunham?
Oh, Jeff Dunham. Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, that used to be like a thing, and people like would talk like that was a thing.
It feels really of that specific era, like
it was like movie 43.
post 40-Year-Old Virgin, pre Apatow. Like, that was Apatow, but like pre Superbad Knocked Up.
Yeah.
Kind of in that middle ground where like comedy was getting to be really big, and also there used like the influence on the sex comedy was still like American Pie.
Yeah.
And so like there like that was sort of where things had to fit into. That's how you get a 40-Year-Old Virgin and The 10 and later like A Year One, which is another movie we'll be talking about later in the series. But it definitely could only have happened in that time.
Yeah.
If it was made in 2017, it would be a Netflix series.
100%. It would have probably had much of the same cast. Well,
yeah.
That's not much to say when it's a David Wain movie.
Yeah, it would have had much of the same cast. Probably a couple like younger folks. Some
Michael
like
Cera would have popped up.
Could have seen Michael Cera. Could have seen like a Kyle Mooney, Beck Bennett. Some
newer SNL.
Some like that era SNL guys. Yeah. Well, the next movie that David Wain and Paul Rudd made was Role Models, which was a hit. The one after that,
I have actually never seen Role Models. I might get around to it at this point, just as the completionist. But
yeah, I've seen parts of Role Models and I remember liking it.
I don't really remember Role Models coming out, but I very clearly remember when Wanderlust came out. Like, as I checked it out from the library and looked at it, I was like, I remember these trailers. I remember this being like,
I remember
around
a lot of TV ads for Wanderlust.
Yeah. Like there was, I think maybe Admission, or there was like maybe one other one that I just sort of confused and conflated with Wanderlust because they were like coming out around sort of the same-ish time, similar levels of like rom-com in the promotion anyway. Wanderlust isn't, I wouldn't define it as a rom-com, even if it sort of has some of the trappings.
It's definitely in that, like, I think this was an era where Jennifer Aniston was in a lot of movies that were marketed like this.
When did she do The Switch? That was one that I really liked when I saw it.
The Switch was around that time. It was like 2010. It was like horrible bosses, we're the Millers, just go with it. Yeah. Like you would see Jennifer Aniston popping up. Yeah. In an R-rated Romish com.
Yeah. It was before her big like serious return to TV.
Yeah. Wanderlust is the one of these four movies that I like overall just don't care for.
I enjoyed it in the sense that it really reminded me of rom-coms of that era. And like that, like 2012, 2013 was when I used to just get like stacks of rom-coms and sort of like light action comedies out from the library, and then I'd watch them all day, and that's just like what I did. It's like I'd watch one with breakfast, one with lunch, and then maybe put on some Star Trek with dinner. And so it was really like nostalgic for me in a way I wasn't prepared for. And even though I found it largely kind of boring up until the last act I really liked, and it kind of saved a lot of the movie for me. I don't know why. Like, well, the nude winemakers thing that really got me. I really enjoyed that. And I think once it kind of like got to that absurd level in the last act was when I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this quite a bit.
Yeah, I remember like see, the thing is, I think despite having seen all those TV ads for it, in the context of this, I was going into it more from the perspective of I like David Wain movies. Yeah. I'm expecting this to be a lot more than it says on the tin, you know? And so I think the fact that there are a couple really good bits in there, including like the dude winemakers and some of that stuff at the end. But like we'll get to it. But the best gag in the whole movie is the Paul Rudd mirror pep talk.
Yes, that I could like Like, I watched the making of featurettes for everything except the 10 of these movies, and watching Paul Rudd try to film that without breaking and like is kind of magic. Let alone when he's doing
it's
it
so
with
funny.
other people.
I'm gonna put my dick in. It's just, and it's so funny the way it ends. Jordan Peele coming through the door, being like, "You all right, man?" It's just like so clear that he heard.
Key and Peele being in this movie was one of those things that I just like was not prepared for how nostalgic it made me to remember when like Key and Peele were just like comedic actors that would just be in comedies, and like that's just what they did.
Yeah, this feels like the closest like example of like sort of alternate universe where Jordan Peele is like a great comedic actor, and is just like, you know, moves completely in that direction, rather than being a generational filmmaking talent.
I'm glad things went the way they did, but it is fun to remember back when it was just like you'd look up Key and Peele sketches on YouTube with your friends, and like that's what you would do.
Yeah, I think Peele is really funny in this, and I think Key is Keegan-Michael Key is a very talented comedic actor, and he's able to like explode and use his body and his voice in ways that like almost nobody else in the world can do.
Yeah.
I think he hasn't been in a good movie in a long time. And I think more so he hasn't really let loose in a movie in a long time. And so Wanderlust is not a good movie, but this is Keegan-Michael Key like fully animated. You know?
Yeah. When I think about the fact that he was in the Prom movie, I just get kind of sad. Like that's a horrible movie, a very mediocre show. But
the Bubble. He's had a rough go of it. Hopefully, I want to see him win. I want to see him, do something really funny. We're all rooting for you. Yeah, Wanderlust is. I don't have a ton to say about Wanderlust relative to the rest of these. I do like. I think it starts to get interesting in the third act. Is what I'd say.
I like when the kid comes out and like says that he saw. Let me make sure I get the name correct. Thoreau sees the Thoreau character, like that he sold it, and the kid is named something like Crazy, and that kid actor was in The Neighbors, which was an ABC sitcom that I loved while it was on. It was very short-lived and about a bunch of aliens living on a golf course, and that kid played Dick Buttkiss, and when that kid popped up, I was like, that kid's funny, and I love him, and I'm glad he's here. And I liked when Alan Alda got to kind of actually go a little crazy.
Yeah.
The scene where it's Jennifer Aniston and Alan Alda in the diner genuinely hit for me as like an emotional beat in the movie. And I don't know if I could explain why, but something about it just worked for me. Maybe it's because they're both like actors that I love that are really talented and they're able to like pull it off. But something about that I liked a lot. And I just loved like the wrap up of where they were like, and here's where everyone is. We've got a publishing company.
Yeah.
We've got like just seeing where, because at no point in the movie could I have necessarily predicted where it ended up, I think. Even though it is a very like rote, very, especially compared to these other movies, like commercial, broad movie, it still feels like it ended in a place that was like really weird for me.
Yeah.
And like all the founders being alive, the Ray Liotta bit, like just really like weird random stuff where they took a gag and then spun it in a way that I liked.
Yeah, I guess it has the spirit of like Vacation kind of. It's like it's like just a movie with its basic plot and its basic kind of functionality that's also like, you know, being elevated on the level of comedy by just like taking bits and going all the way with them.
Yeah. And it's helped by its cast and the fact that, you know, everybody, at that point had been working together for so long and were able to kind of just like flex their muscles and sort of do what they could do within that space because they all knew each other so well.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that 2 of these movies have early acting roles from future Oscar-nominated directors.
This is true. Who was it in this one?
Well, Jordan Peele.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, who else is in this movie? No, Jordan Peele, of course.
Yeah.
Love him.
Jordan and Bradley.
And I
two greats of their time.
I liked the cameo from all of the like old school, or like all the like Ridge guys with David Wain and Michael Ian Black and Michael Showalter as the news guys. That was funny to me.
Yeah. It definitely feels like this is sort of the one moment for David Wain where he was like, I think Role Models being a breakout, it probably came off of like the post Superbad like gold rush of comedy. And I think Wanderlust feels like the one where he's like thinking of moving his career in that commercial direction and just becoming like, I'm going to make studio comedies.
And it works sort of for where everyone was in their careers at that point. Like all of them were sort of getting commercial success. Was this this was before Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's like, I don't know, more than one of the like original people who sort of formed this comedy group were making names for themselves and were able to be like, we can make a big commercial movie, and we are the kind of people who would be in a big commercial movie, a big commercial comedy like this, so why not make one?
Yeah, they were kind of they obviously members of Stella had, you know, gone and made Reno 911, and that was a big TV success, and then they kind of like things kind of spiraled off into like Children's Hospital, all that Adult Swim stuff. There's this exploding thing, and then you have Role Models on the other side, where it's like, I think the fact that these people are kind of in Judd Apatow's circle just makes them like gold at this time.
Yeah.
Like anyone who was in an like Paul Rudd is gold right now. You know, anyone who was kind of in one of the Apatow movies, like Jennifer Aniston too. Obviously a big comedy star already, but like, you know, in that moment, that was what everyone wanted.
Yeah, which I think works also as a good transition into They Came Together, because it's a movie that many people wanted to make and were finally able to make because they had become famous at that point. Like, in watching the making of stuff for They Came Together, it really seems like this was a script that they wrote right after Wet Hot American Summer, and that they were really prepared to be their second movie. And then, of course, Wet Hot American Summer did not do well at the box office, and it kind of got shelved until they did like a script read, a table read at Sketchfest, and we're like, hey, let's get back to that idea now that we can be like, oh, Paul Rudd's in the movie, give us a little bit of money. And even like on the micro budget that they had, it was still like, they're like, we were going to put Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd in a movie, and someone gave them some level of money to make it.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how after, like, they had to become mainstream filmmakers and then go back down to an indie budget in order to make this movie happen. Like they had to come full circle and come back home to be able to do it.
And it works so well. I was so excited to finally watch this movie, in part because I knew how much you loved it, and boy did it delivered. I really, really, really liked this movie.
This one's one of my favorite movies. I will say, I think I remember when it came out, and I remember hearing about it and wanting to see it because I was a big comedy nerd at that time. I kept up on what new movies were coming out already, and I looked like a couple months ahead on like comingsoon.net or whatever to see what was on the horizon. So I found out about this, and I was like, Amy Poehler, Paul Rudd is going to be huge. And then I remember it coming out, and by the time it was coming out, I was like, okay, hasn't had a lot of promo around this. This is not something that is going to be easy to see. Mm-hmm. It was only showing at this theater in Ann Arbor, which was like a 45-minute drive away from me. And I tried to get my mom to take me to it, and I remember being really upset when she wouldn't. Mm-hmm. So I did not see They Came Together in theaters, but I actively tried to. And I ended up watching it for the first time on like a rip. And it blew me away. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. Yeah. And I think it's really interesting that Wanderlust, I was surprised that Wanderlust like did as bad as it did, because again, like, we remember seeing all these ads for it, and then it opened number 8. The big new release that week was Act of Valor. It did really poorly. But I think with They Came Together, like I was saying, it kind of ends up being another Wet Hot situation where it's like, this is a movie that no one really knew about, and now people kind of find. And I am seeing more and more. Like, so far this year, I've seen some people really go to bat for They Came Together. I think on the 10-year anniversary it was a thing. I think it's starting to get that same kind of tidal wave that Wet Hot did 10 years ago.
It is funny that, Wet Hot famously was made on one of the coldest, wettest summers in Pennsylvania, and They Came Together is supposed to be like an autumnal, 90s sort of rom-com twist, and were making it like the dead heat of New York summer in 100-degree weather, which makes for some really good bits when it's just like just naturally, because of when they were filming, there's just like people just like running, just shirtless dudes playing basketball while they're all in their little cozy like
when they're playing in the leaves, and it's just like one pile of leaves.
And setting is so important in this movie, as New York is like a character. I looked at the press materials from when this movie came out, and there was a big red line that said, "Please note, New York City plays such a central role in this story, it is almost like another character in the movie." My favorite part about this movie, and there were many things that I really liked about this, and there were many ways that it surprised me. Like, I didn't know Jason Mantzoukas was in it, and
he's so funny.
So excited to see him, especially coming off of
I
don't know if anybody here.
I'll let you finish.
I don't know if anybody.
But I want to come back to
watches Taskmaster, but Jason Mantzoukas just killed it on the last season of Taskmaster, and I was very excited to see him. He is always a name that I look forward to seeing, and that was delightful. Please, and continue.
I was gonna say my favorite bit in the movie, which I think you were gonna say your favorite bit in the movie, but my favorite bit in the movie is the Christopher Maloney superhero costume bit. And Jason Mantzoukas put such a great button on it by being like, "Who do you think did it?"
He's such a good straight man. Like, he works when he does his like Brooklyn Nine-Nine thing of being like unhinged and crazy. Like, he's really good at that. But I love when he just plays it dead straight. He's so good. It has such a like solid delivery of things like that. Or like when he sneezes on the subtitles, and it's just like played completely dead straight. I love that shit.
It's so good. For the listeners at home who don't mind a little spoiler, the superhero costume bit is they're at the Halloween party where Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler both show up dressed as Ben Franklin,
which is also really good. my party tomatoes.
This is the best movie ever.
when they're in the elevator and they're like, "Damn, I guess it's in the same building." Ugh. Wow, it's the same floor.
It's the same. Oh man, great! Both our parties are at the same. Good thing we'll be going to different rooms on that.
And when they take off the bald caps and we get the rom-com, like, oh, actually, but it's like when you take the glasses off, but it's Ben Franklin bald caps.
Yeah. So Christopher Maloney plays Paul Rudd's boss. And he's at this party for some reason, and he is wearing a superhero costume, and he goes into the bathroom because he has to take a shit, and he can't get the costume off. So there's this whole physical comedy bit of him trying to take the costume off. Then we cut to later in the night, and he is now wearing a bathrobe and a shower cap and shower shoes, and they're like, "What happened to your superhero costume?" And he was like, "Oh, I changed into my other costume. I taking a shower."
And the guy comes out of the bathroom and goes, "Why is your superhero costume full of shit and on the floor in the bathroom?"
Someone must have taken my costume.
Someone must have put it on.
And taken a shit.
Taken a shit.
Put it on.
Taken it off again. And then used the towels to clean it up.
The way that Maloney plays it is just so so good.
Who here put on my superhero costume, took a shit, and then left it? Oh my. Who do you think it was?
So the plot of this movie, Paul Rudd is an analyst at Candy Systems and Research, and Amy Poehler is the owner of Upper Sweet Side, a small independent candy shop.
All the proceeds
that
go to charity.
Candy Systems and where all the proceeds go to
She
charity.
regularly gives away candy to children.
That Candy Systems and Research intends to destroy.
Yeah, they're setting up their new big
So they can make a
superstore across the way.
Candy Superstore, yeah.
Yeah.
And
sorry, my brain just thought about the Dick Rigger account, which is also a really good bit.
The Dick Ricker account is really good. Because why do they? Because what kind of account is it? Like,
we don't know. We meet the character at one point.
The idea of a candy company having like accounts. It was so funny. We do meet Dick Ricker at one point.
He comes in at the end.
Yeah. There's the great bit with Michael Ian Black going over to have sex with Paul's girlfriend, where he said, "At the time, I just thought that he was grabbing a condom on the way to my girlfriend's house." And by the way, the framing device of this story is that Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler are telling the story to Bill Hader and Michaela Watkins. Ellie Kemper,
Yeah.
Bill Hader and Ellie Kemper at a restaurant in New York,
which
is almost like a character in the
yes,
movie.
of course. How could we ever forget New York, the other character in the movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't realize until I was watching the bonus features that whole framing device was added in after the rough cut. They had made the movie,
Wow,
and then screened it, and audiences didn't really like it or get it, and so I think literally they were like, "Hey Bill, are you free for a day?" and filmed the framing device, and it works really well.
It works really well. It's so funny whenever they come back to it. It feels like they don't come back to it too much or too little. It's always funny when they,
and it works
when they do
as
it.
Like it opens with enough straight comedy that it like sets the tone so that you know what you're in for. Because sometimes with spoofs like this, it's hard to sort of get where's the comedy actually starting versus where are they like seriously doing the genre. And the framing device works so well to just be like, no, it's goofy, it's ridiculous. New York is a character.
Yeah, it definitely really heightens some of the classic rom-com tropes. Amy Poehler is clumsy, and she's just constantly tripping and knocking shit over. There's also the scene where they have sex and they're just running around the room knocking all the shit off the counters and stuff.
No, okay. My favorite, probably my favorite thing in the whole movie is the set decoration. The production design.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Is because it's like
Paul Rudd's apartment is so fucking funny.
the whole fight scene where it's like him and the brother, and like the fight scene itself is funny, but I also figured out during that scene that there was like more space behind the shelving unit in the kitchen. Like there's just empty space that they've blocked off with like IKEA shelves. I was so, and again, like as someone who during this era, I was watching every single ABC Family rom-com I could get my hands on. Like, I was excited when Netflix started doing their, like, Christmas Prince stuff before it got terrible. And was like, I was so into rom-coms of this era that it felt like, again, it was, like, weirdly nostalgic to see such bad set design. Because, like, that's what... there's one called Sense and Sensibility about two sisters who work at a company where they make perfume and then they fall in love with the like it was like that level of like cheap rom-com that I love, but done in a way where it was just a little goofier, where it's just like, we're gonna put like an old-fashioned scuba suit in the background because that's what you would have in an apartment.
It's so good. The another like rom-com trope that they do is like Paul Rudd shooting hoops with his friends, and each one of them represents a different perspective, and they just say which one they are. It's like Kenan Thompson and Jack McBrayer, and this little group of guys, Jason Segel. The bit in that scene where they keep shooting a ball, missing wildly, and then the same sound effect of one of them saying "swish" play.
I love the bit where Paul Rudd comes home to Amy Poehler's apartment, and first we get the sister character, and then we get the son. And is this my new dad? And he pulls a hamburger out. Oh, what's that behind your ear? It's a hamburger. Go eat that in your bed.
Yeah.
And then we never see the son again.
The son. There's so many little bits that I forget about until I'm like watching it or remembering it. Or it's like the thing about Amy Poehler's parents being Nazi.
Yes. Oh my god. You weren't gonna tell me your parents were white supremacists? I didn't think it was a big deal.
The bit that got me the most the first time, I think, was the coffee shop bit where he gives Amy Poehler's whole long order, and then the cashier's just like, coffee and a number 2, and it's like the whole giant order is just on the chalkboard.
Wow, where did they make you all? Anytime that, especially because these are two people who can do romance really good, and we know that, and we've seen it time and time again, that like they can do that like soft comedy romance really well. Whenever they would put on the like wistful glance, it was made even funnier and better for me, knowing that like put in another context, I would just like totally fall for that. Like if that was Leslie and Ben in Parks and Rec, I'd be like, oh, of course. And speaking of, I love the cameo from Adam Scott and oh my god, I'm blanking, from Full House.
John Stamos.
It's just like, and that's Adam Scott from Parks and Rec, and John Stamos from Full House.
When they got to the music video,
as soon as like the logo on the bottom or the name on the bottom came up, like it was a music video for Norah Jones, and I was like, oh, this is good. And then it just kept going. That whole bit kept going.
Oh man, I feel like I have 1,000 things flying around my head right now.
Every bit is good. The ending with the boyfriend Frank finally showing up and his Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Good.
Yeah, fucking Michael Shannon. It's like
with a sword.
Oh my god.
Judge Judy as herself.
Judge Judy as herself. The bit with Ed Helms at the beginning, where he's talking about how he's divorced, and then he's like, we wanted different things. I wanted to settle down, and then she's like, what does she want? He says, I don't know, you'll have to ask my brother. And he's like, okay, and then leans, and behind him is his brother, and it's David Wain, and he's like, hey, what did Egbert's wife want? Oh, she wanted to travel more.
Egbert on his own. That's it.
Yeah.
And there's so many bits. I didn't get to watch the full like deleted scenes, but just from the making of featurette, seeing some of the bits that were cut, like there's clearly some scene they did where it was like him having dinner with Kobe Smothers, where she's like putting like the entire spaghetti in her mouth at once, and then like cutting back between like that and Amy Poehler eating spaghetti normal, and it's like There's so many bits in the movie that are good, and then there's so much that definitely clearly got left on the cutting room floor that I'm like, give me the 4-hour cut of this movie. I'll watch it. I'll go and see it in theater. I'll pay good money to see the 4-hour cut of this movie.
I love Ed Helms' scarf and how it like gets smaller over the course of the movie. The fiction bit, the fiction bit which starts at the Strand, and Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd are like, you like fiction books? I've literally never met anybody that liked fiction before. And then she's on the date with Ed Helms, and she's like, do you like fiction? And he's like, I don't really get it. Like, it's not real.
If it didn't happen, why'd they write it down?
Right?
That the bit in the Strand also has the amazing line delivery of the like female sidekick character being like, I'm gonna get out of the firing range, and then the guy from New Girl being like, me too.
Yeah. There's the bit where she's like, my Aunt Flo's in town, and then she actually, her Aunt Flo's in town. The one bit from the movie that I've seen people post online that's like kind of semi-viral is the one where he's at the bar with the bartender. And he's just like, tell me about it. You can say that again over and over for like 3 minutes.
That is, sometimes the like doing a joke so many times doesn't always work for me. It worked for me here, partly because you could tell that it on some level wasn't like the bartender was giving a new delivery every time. They just kept doing
it. They didn't just repeat the clip.
It was just the quick change when she's like, oh, I look like a chimney sweep. into the
little
montage. And when she comes out, she's dressed as
the montage.
Yeah. Where are you going?
And then Paul Rudd's outside thinking about what to say, and he's like, I'm just feeling so hamburgies and hot doggy.
Cup of Joel, of course.
Cup of Joel, because his name's Joel.
And then it's
like Cup of Joe.
It's just like a single counter on the sidewalk.
It's like a table outside of the store.
And of course, at the end of all of this, we find out that they've been divorced and they're not even together anymore.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like the only way you can punchline a movie like this, where it's always got to be that happy ending, and you got to punchline it with just being like, and they're not even together anymore.
Yeah. It's They Came Together is a really good title because it obviously has the innuendo sense, and I remember one of the posters said like, he came, she came, they both came. But it also is so that kind of rom-com title that's just like, for that certain kind of, and I saw an interview where David Wain talked about this, but it's just that certain kind of like B-tier rom-com that's like, you know, Anyone But You, there she goes, you know, like, and then we were.
It's the kind of rom-com title where I would put it on to watch on my mom's Kindle Fire in my room in like, like 10th grade, and then I'd realize halfway through that it was super Christian and be like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, never mind. But I love that this is a movie that I know someone could, like, some old lady could pull it off the shelf at the library, look at it and go, oh, this looks cute, this looks like a good rom-com, and not have any idea what she was in for.
Yeah, and kind of like not even fully realize for a while, like not be checked in enough to get right away, and kind of get like 30 minutes into the movie and being like, is he making out with his grandmother?
What is it, Booba? Booby?
Bubby, yeah.
It's just the kind of comedy that I'm glad to see something like The Naked Gun come out and be like an actual jokes-a-minute comedy the way that this is, because this is the kind of comedy that I just love. And I feel like there just hasn't been enough. Like, on the way home from The Naked Gun, I was talking to my friend about how much I love the Jump Street movies, and I just like reminiscing back to this era when there were comedies coming out all the time, and they were like this. They were like they came together, even if they weren't that good. They had a joke. Every line was a joke, and everything was packed to the brim with comedy.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of like lesser comedies from that time that people kind of, wrote off. That was sort of eventually led to this whole genre falling off. That you look back now and it's like, Ghostbusters 2016 is far from a perfect movie, but it's really funny.
It's really fun. They had a whole dance number that they spent lots of money on that they had to cut, so they just put it in credits. There's a lot of lore around that movie that is really funny to me, besides just like actually, this was one of the things we were talking about on the way home from The Naked Gun, was how Melissa McCarthy used to just make big movies that were in the movie theater, and you used to be able to go see a Melissa McCarthy comedy at your local Cinemaplex.
And they weren't all good, but like 3/4 of them were really good.
For every Spy, there was one that was like not great, but then we'd also get Spy.
Yeah. You'd get like an Identity Thief and a Happy Time Murders, but then you'd also get The Heat and Spy.
This was just a good, perfect little comedy that I am now gonna. It's like one of those movies where after watching it, I just know I'm gonna tell everyone in my life to watch this. Like this is gonna be one that I will talk about and want to rewatch and want to return to.
The thing I was going to say about Weapons earlier that I now remember is that I watched The 10 shortly after I saw Weapons, and I would not have expected there to be any similarities, let's say. But in watching it, I was like, this is also kind of an anthology sort of story with this same, like Weapons has this very sketchy energy sometimes. And it's like different perspectives on this same time period, like all these things kind of intertwined with each other. And it's also like sort of like taking suburban life to a very extreme degree. I think especially the CAT scan sequence. I was like, I'm kind of seeing the connection here. And then the kids getting radiation poisoning also kind of like brought it back around. So I guess if you haven't thus far been motivated to watch The 10, and I don't blame you if you don't, because it's hard to find and not that great, but if you liked Weapons, you might find some interesting. It might make an interesting double feature.
You start with Weapons, and then you get a little drunk, and then you put on The 10.
Yeah. Make sure by the end of Weapons you are drunk, and then immediately put on The 10. That might send me to the hospital. That would be one of the craziest nights of my life.
Yeah. No, I can definitely say that of these movies, the only one I had seen prior to this was Wet Hot American Summer, but I am very happy to be coming out with another favorite of They Came Together. And I don't know that I'll ever rewatch The 10 or Wanderlust, but I certainly had a time watching both of them. They are both movies that I watched that had Paul Rudd in them.
Yeah, I could see myself maybe getting around to The 10 eventually if it like came on, or it was, I was like super high and it was on Tubi or whatever. Like,
The 10 is a perfect Tubi movie. Why hasn't Tubi snatched that up yet?
They gotta get it. But I definitely think when we were getting around to this episode, I had watched Wanderlust a few months ago, and I was like, the thought of rewatching it did not even cross my mind. I was like, I don't need to see that again.
Yeah.
So we come to the part of the show where we draft our awards picks from these movies. We are each going to get the chance to draft 5 things. They can be the films themselves, they can be the scripts, the directors, the actors, any of the classic categories you'd find at an award show, or any category we happen to come up with. We'll have to make that a category, whatever it is.
Yeah.
In order to find out who goes first, we're going to roll a d20, because any dungeon master worth his weight in geldings doesn't go anywhere without a 20-sided die.
I've rolled a 5.
I've rolled a 6.
Ooh, okay. You get first pick.
So, I'm not going to be all quiet and strategic. There is a chalk pick in this round. There is one that, as we talked about at the beginning, is the first movie most people are going to think of when we tell them about this season. Mm-hmm. They Came Together in Best Picture is... You'd almost be stupid not to pick it. But...
But...
Here's my question. I think I thought about this before we did the episode, and I was like, there has to be some chalk in my lineup. There has to be some easy layup picks that I know are going to do well for me. And the Heart of Hearts pick for me was They Came Together, which, as you know, is one of my favorite movies. Mm-hmm. I also know that Wet Hot is one of your favorite movies. Mm-hmm. But after the tenor of our conversation, I am willing to take a little risk and make my first pick They Came Together for Best Picture.
It's definitely a worthy contender. For my first pick, I think I have to go with... especially because as we ease into this and we work our way up to our 20 drafts picks, I think I got to start with some like solid things that I know I can really argue for, that I really know that I can believe in. Some real, steady... I'm trying to find another sports metaphor. It's not coming to me, but I think I've got to just take Wet Hot for Best Picture, just to say I've done it, because I got to.
That is very fair. I think one of us had to on the first round. Yep. There was really, it's a smart play, and
thank you.
It's a play I was far too smart for. I was too smart for my own good. Now things get interesting, because I think getting a screenplay in there from one of those two movies is also going to be good for me. I might split the pot and say Wet Hot for screenplay, although Wet Hot kind of had a screenplay.
Yeah, it's less of a screenplay than They Came Together, even though they were both filmed very quickly. There's definitely more of a sort of improv-y looseness to Wet Hot.
True. We might it might be fair to say that when we get to the end of the season, we may say, well, They Came Together is very well constructed, and Wet Hot has the je ne sais quoi. So actually, you've talked me into it. I'm taking They Came Together for screenplay.
Okay. I kind of want to steal an award from, I believe it's it's one of the Guild Awards that does Best Ensemble.
Sure.
And I want to take, I'm trying to decide between our two heavy hitters here today. Mm-hmm. It's hard because both have, and especially it's hard in this episode because the ensembles are so similar. It's basically the same group of people.
It's a lot of the same people.
I think with the David Hyde Pierce edge, I'm going to take Wet Hot for Best Ensemble Cast.
Sure. We're really dividing and conquering here so far. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to... is it too early to pull something a little back pocket and hope that it grows? I think... Well, there's a couple things I could do here. This is tough. This isn't easy work we're doing here, folks.
No.
I am going to... You know what? I want to build the bench. I still have room to do a couple interesting things later on. I think I have to retaliate and take They Came Together for ensemble.
Listen, when you've got two heavy hitters here,
I might have a surprise or two up my sleeve. We'll see.
Okay.
I can think of one that would be a strong pick for you.
Oh, okay.
if you're willing to hear me out.
Yeah. Okay. Give me your sell.
I'm giving you free game here. Higher and Higher for song.
Ooh, that is really, really good. That's really, really good. I think I almost can I do Wet Hot for album for like soundtrack?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Wet Hot for soundtrack.
Any category we come up with will be in the awards at the end of the season.
Yes.
So I'm gonna throw the curveball, and this might be a pick that I just have to drop immediately when something better comes along. But I'm choosing to have a little fun here. I think there will be other really good movies in this series. I am picking, in the supporting actress category, Winona Ryder for The 10.
Whoa. Listen, she does good work in that.
She does great work. And I think if we come back to that performance, we're going to find more and more.
The one that's been sort of circling in the back of my brain as I'm thinking about this, and I think now I might as well do it, is Alan Alda for supporting actor in Wanderlust.
Wow.
Probably going to drop him at some point, but I thought he was really funny. And it was a very kind of one-note character, but it was the one note worked for me.
Yeah, so I have a couple options at this point coming into the end here. I could possibly throw out a new category. I could ice you out of you know, a big get. I could take something that you had the chance to take earlier. How do I want to play this? Do I want to play from the heart or from the head? I think I'm going to take a movie that has not made it onto my roster yet, and I just need to grab something from it. And I'm going to say breakout star Amy Poehler, Wet Hot American Summer.
That's a really big get. This is actually making me think that a very apt grab from this round especially would be breakout director David Wain.
Ooh,
for
true.
his debut, Wet Hot American Summer.
True.
I think I might have to do that.
Wow. See, I was too in my head about just taking David Wain for director and, you know, like sweeping them all off. But first feature Wet Hot is a really, really strong pick. Maybe
it's
it might
incredible debut.
It might be the strongest Wet Hot pick like that we've had. It might be the one that's definitely going to win. But we have a lot of movies coming up, and we haven't seen most of them.
We have so many movies. Yes, I'm very excited for our next round.
Shall we announce it as we're kind of closing off the episode?
I love that.
Our next episode will be covering some Rudd duds from franchises.
Some excellent franchises that I'm very familiar with, and some that I know very little about.
Yes.
So lots to explore.
We'll be talking about Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
We will also be talking about Gen Y Cops, which is probably the thing I am the most excited about out of this group.
Yeah, that's one that, like, I will see on Paul Rudd's, you know, Wikipedia sometimes, and I'm just always like, I bet that's interesting.
Yeah, the fact that Paul Rudd is in it at all is kind of a hoot.
We'll be talking about another of the most legendary Rudd duds, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yes, which you have seen and I have not, I believe.
Yeah.
The last MCU movie I saw was the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire in it, so I'm ready to be very confused.
I think you will be.
But then the other one we are watching is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is a sequel to a different sequel. And while I enjoyed the first one of the Paul Rudd Ghostbusters. I never got to see the second one. So I'm excited to see what my boy Podcast is all up to in the second one.
Yeah. In fairness, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was not a bomb. But I think it would be proper to call it a dud.
Yes. Yes. I concur. When I saw it on the list, I went, this sounds right. This feels right. Yeah. I'm sure they lost money on like the amount of merchandising they made, you know?
Yeah. I think I even know some people that like it, but I I think it's not a I don't think Paul Rudd will when he wins his Lifetime Achievement Awards, they're gonna play Frozen Empire clips.
Play that great clip from the Ghostbusters movie where he's chased by a werewolf through Walmart.
Yeah.
Unless, am I confusing movies?
Werewolf through Walmart.
I feel like I may have just conflated the Jack Black Ghostbusters with the Jack Black Goosebumps with the Paul Rudd Ghostbusters.
There's definitely a scene in a Walmart in the Paul Rudd Ghostbusters, I feel like.
Yeah. Because I remember sitting in the theater and being like, damn, Walmart really paid for this movie, apparently.
Yeah, it makes me think of the gag in Looney Tunes Back in Action where they're at in the desert and they find a Walmart and then it's just a mirage.
Yes. Well, I'm very excited to get some Hong Kong action in amidst some other stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm very excited to see Halloween 6. I have only really seen Halloween and Halloween.
Yeah. I've only seen the first one. It's not my favorite. Mm-hmm. I appreciate it, but it's a franchise that I think I've always known I'm going to like the sequels more than the original.
Yeah, I think I really liked the first Halloween movie, and I liked the remake, the first of the David Gordon Green ones. But I think any of those, like Nightmare on Elm Street, kind of like those 80s horror series, like I'm always really excited when I get a chance to watch one of the later ones, you know. So yeah, this has been the first episode of Pulp Fantasy.
Pulp Fantasy. We don't have a stinger, do we?
We don't have much of a stinger. I think if you're listening, you should let us know what you think of the show, what you like, what you don't like, because we're in the early days and things could really change a lot. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out a clean sign-off in the future. But is there anything fun we can do?
I'm trying to think of another pun on Paul Rudd.
Maybe something with David Wain, where it's like, Wain, go away. You come on back another day.
Please, David Wain, make something new.
Come back another day.
Maybe I'll check into your Peacock series.
Yeah.
It looks okay.
I like Futile and Stupid Gesture.
Yeah.
We could probably use that.
That's definitely usable.
Yeah, that's footage.
Fix it in post.
The movies.